Hey forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents. Welcome to another video. As you see by the title, this one is on my top 10 perfect 10 out of 10 fragrances. These ones are all designers, but some of them even furthermore exceed their price point in my opinion as far as what you can get them for. So for you niche whores out there or people with expensive tastes, I feel like there's a little bit of something here for everyone. But without further ado, we might as well get on with it just because we have a lot of material to cover. So we're going to count down in no particular order, starting off with this one right here. It's Allure Homme Édition Blanche Eau Parfumée by Chanel. Yes, I know I talk about this stuff ad nauseum, but it is so good. We're talking a summer gourmand, which you typically never see. So this one smells more like a lemon meringue pie, allegedly, with its lemon and vanillic nuances and whatnot. But I do get a decent amount of vetiver here as well as pepper to subdue it from going too sweet, you know, because typically you want something that's more effervescent and refreshing and juicy. You don't want something too intense, and here I just feel like it's perfect as a result because I can spray this, spam it across my skin, and not feel like I am being choked out whatsoever, but I also smell like a snack at the same time, so that's why I love this stuff. So for being one of those scents that you smell that you kind of just want to eat off of you when you are wearing it, that's why it makes this list. Again, it's Allure Homme Édition Blanche Eau Parfumée by Chanel. Moving on to the next one, we have a new release, and they seldom make them like this anymore, but here it is. It's Pasha de Cartier Parfum by Cartier, of course. Now, I'm really happy that this scent debuted this year because I'm a huge Cartier fan for reasons that transcend fragrances. Of course, they're more known for their jewelry and their watches, of course. Their watches are amongst my favorites in all of horology. And with the return of the OG Pasha de Cartier in this gold form now, I guess you have to debut something fragrance-wise to kind of match it at the same time. So when this fragrance debuted way back when to kind of commemorate the initial Pasha watch, you had a more aromatic approach which was very much at ease and appropriate for the kind of person who would wear a Pasha. But at the end of the day, that was 28 years ago. What do you do to modernize such a thing, especially with that watch coming back? And I guess that's add booze, but I'm not sure if that's what you're supposed to do, but that's what Cartier did anyway. So on top of the aromatics here, the sandalwood and the amber just feel boozy and intoxicating and almost headache inducing off of my skin when I just get a whiff off of it, you know, directly like this. It's really intense, and while I might not be completely at ease with it just because of my personal taste, I know a lot of people really do love this scent, and I can empathize with why. You really don't see stuff cross over too much that is either aromatic and or boozy. Usually it's just one or the other, but to have both facets of what are traditionally both awesome genres of men's fragrances put in one, I just think is really, really cool. And for a designer scent, I just feel like it kind of smells and is evocative of the luxury that it is marketing. But yeah, again, different facets of gentlemanly perfumery in a bottle. Again, it's Pasha de Cartier Parfum by Cartier. Okay, moving on to the next 10 out of 10 designer fragrance. Here we go. It's Black Orchid Eau de Parfum by Tom Ford. Hard to believe that 13, 14 years ago, the Tom Ford brand all started with the private blends and this stuff right here. And to me, it's totally evocative of the Tom Ford woman to a T. We're talking a rock star femme fatale approach that is rather edgy in the form of that voluptuous orchid note. Again, just really feels overly narcotic and imposing. But to equally characterize this scent, which is why a lot of guys also like this scent, is the dry down that comes off as gourmand and rather mystical. So a lot of patchouli that leans a little bit more sweet and earthy rather than woody and earthy. Kind of chocolatey too, which kind of sounds weird, but I guess you're gonna get that out of the more darker facets of everything else. Got a little bit of truffle too. Just overall really pretty, really dark, and a perfect daring fragrance for a straight cis male out there. Unless you like to wear this on the daily or if you're a woman. But yeah, who knows? In my opinion, you could definitely advertise this stuff as unisex, but it definitely leans feminine traditionally. But that doesn't mean you should skip out on this. Definitely check this out even if you're apprehensive. You can find it nearly anywhere that stocks fragrances in the mid to high end level. So again, just do so already. Once more, it is the Eau de Parfum concentration of Black Orchid by Tom Ford. Now continuing on with the black theme, here we go with our next 10 out of 10 designer fragrance. It's this Eau Parfumée Eau Noire Eau de Cologne Intense by Bvlgari. Wow, that was probably the worst mouthful ever as far as any fragrance name on this channel ever, but it's worth it because I must say that this fragrance has quickly become one of my most favorite in the last year. This stuff right here is the more intense version of the initial Eau Noire 2. I can't really compare this to that, so Don't ask, I'm sorry. But I know this is the version that they're smelling now, and it is just sublime. It's characterized by a rose and an oud that supports that black tea rather than superseding it, so it doesn't feel like it's going to choke you out at any stage just because the tea is still going to be the main event regardless of where you're at in the scent. It's a quite noticeable hint of rose and oud, if I could put it lightly. And maybe some of you would argue that they put it too lightly here as far as physically speaking, because it's not going to project off of you that much. But I just feel like if they added in any more rose, it would just become more of that kind of scent. And of course, the rest of this line is characterized by tea, so you don't want to stray too much away from that inspiration and whatnot, you know? So I just feel like this is just right for any tea lover that wants more than what they are used to. Typically, you'll just get tea supported with some citrus and eventually it dies out in 3 to 4 hours. That's not the case here. I'm kind of a slut for tea fragrances that last, and typically they are well done, but atypically speaking, they are not remotely like any of each other, and this one right here I think definitely stands on its own. And if it wasn't exclusive to just Europe, I'm pretty sure this would be more widely talked about as well. So if you've yet to, definitely check this out if you can. If you are in North America like myself or any other place in the world that's not Europe, maybe perhaps try duty free the next time you're actually able to travel. Maybe you'll stumble upon this. I think it's well worth the sniff. Again, it's Eau Parfumée Eau Noir Eau de Cologne Intense by Bvlgari. Damn, I'm proud of myself for saying that. Again, part of this 10 out of 10 designer list. Alright, for moving on to the next designer on the list. This one's by Lalique. It is Encre Noire à l'Extrême. Now, what I like about Encre Noire, the OG, is that you take a more traditional note in vetiver and try to make it more avant-garde with its approach to making it smell like ink per se. I think that's really unique, and somehow it's still very wearable despite being dark. But what I like about the flankers more is that they actually feel more wearable to me, yet not taking too much away from the initial DNA. Like the Spore version feels like it's toned down, add some citrus, boom, it's super wearable, and it still feels like Encre Noire. But with à l'Extrême, holy, you get a greener, more incensey opening here, which I just feel like is breathtaking. It's a smokiness that ultimately feels wearable too, so don't worry if it lasts too long off of your skin. I just feel like it's a welcome touch versus just furthermore getting into the dry down firsthand like you would with the OG Encre Noire. Now, as far as my skin chemistry though, despite how much I love that opening, I feel like it's actually more closer related to the OG Encre Noire, because after that opening there's not a whole lot of difference here in comparison to this and or the Sport. So it's just a slight twist on the OG Encre Noire if anything, but one that I don't think you have to do too much of with, just because I think that fragrance is already so great in its own right. Don't worry, you're still getting slight inkiness and woodiness from the cypress along with other woody and or rooty notes. So check this out if you've yet to. It's Encre Noire à l'Extrême by Lalique. Alright, for moving on to the next top 10 out of 10 designer fragrance, and I seldom talk about this note, but I'm really happy I get to here. It's amber. And this is called Amber Malaki by Chopin. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Chopin, they're primarily known for their jewelry and or watches, kind of like Cartier is. But unlike Cartier, they're even less known for their fragrances, but they've actually been getting busy recently in the last 5 or 6 years with some of these awesome Malaki fragrances. And I must say that this one is my most favorite out of all of them, Amber Malaki. So here this stuff is supposed to represent the warm opulence of Chopin's jewelry. I think they did a bang-on job. It just doesn't remotely smell like a regular designer to me. And there's nothing wrong with the D&G, the ones and whatnot, stuff like that, but it just feels like so been there, done that, and if you want something to graduate to, I guess it's this. So it's smoky, sweet, and enveloping, which helps with the opening as well because there's actually vanilla bourbon here too. So to combine that with the amber, you're getting something that feels a little bit more intoxicating, doesn't feel too sickly or sweet or synthetic in comparison to other things in this price point, and just feels really high quality for what you are getting it for. Like, I personally can't say enough about this stuff because I tend to avoid amber fragrances for whatever reason, mainly because I think that accord with too much smokiness or other resins just is a little bit too overblown for me. But here, while it's still pronounced, I just don't feel like there's too much going on. And maybe for a more catch-all designer approach, I think that's actually a good thing. So since it's more focused on the warmer, sweeter aspects without too much complication, I also feel like it would be quite the compliment getter too, so you really can't go wrong there. So if it makes any sense, I feel like this is a entry-level, high-level amber or entry-level, high-level fragrance. Don't sleep on Chopin, definitely doing really opulent stuff. So definitely check this out if you've yet to. This one is called Amber Malaki. And speaking of a scent that I'm definitely not sleeping on, and I think most of y'all aren't, or maybe if you are, y'all should get your nose checked. Here it is, a part of this top 10 out of 10 designer fragrances list, Terre d'Hermès Eau de Toilette by Hermès, of course. So yeah, the thing about this stuff is you're getting a hell of a whole lot of ICOE super with a lot of mineral as well. So I get how it's off-putting to a lot of you at first, but actually wear this stuff off of your skin and just don't do this. Get the wafts in the air. That's where I really think that Terre will do its magic for you. So we're talking a bright orange with a little bit of earthiness to it, again some of that mineral, and ultimately a woody vetiver, but also one that doesn't lean gray vetiver, also one that doesn't lean Carvin, one that doesn't lean Guerlain. It's definitely a vetiver on its own, and when it comes to the more designer vetivers out there, as far as the most mainstream ones, I actually think this is the most unique one too. It's just the one that I feel like is the most equal parts clean and dirty, and I just think it's just so awesome, sexy, and masculine. You just really can't go wrong with this. And I must also say that if you are like a man's man type, I just want to tell you that this is the one fragrance I would recommend to anyone out there who is either white collar and or blue collar, or maybe you're just one or the other type of guy and you want this to do everything for you occasion wise anytime during the year. I think that this is that scent. Again, most scents just lean too smart casual and or clean. Other scents just lean too rugged. This is just right, and I love it. Again, it's the Eau de Toilette version for this top 10 designer 10 out of 10 fragrances video. Alright, moving on to the next fragrance on this list, and this is a smoky turn that we're taking, but one that is still wearable. Here's Kyoto by Comme des Garçons. Now, what I like about this scent the most is that it takes an Eastern approach to incense, and arguably the most wearable one if you are to put it into a bottle and spray it. Like more Middle Eastern approaches to incense or more Catholic Western European approaches to incense, I just don't feel like would be as flattering in fragrance form. But here this stuff is so brisk, so breathtaking, and I can't say enough of it. So to capture that zen kind of calm essence here, you have some cedar, you have some cypress, soft woods, greens, and earthy notes just to give you that brisk feeling of being in Japan. And if you don't believe me with how wearable this incense is, just smell the rest of this line. All the incenses there are based on different geographical locations and religions around the world. Some might smell too exotic, some might smell too much like a funeral parlor. This is just equal parts calm, smoky, zen. I love it. And you might too, so check it out if you have yet to. It's Kyoto by Comme des Garçons. Alright, moving on to the next fragrance on this list, and one I haven't mentioned in a couple of years, but it is still awesome nonetheless. It's Amen Pure Havane by Mugler. Now I must say, I have to preface this, I just don't know what this scent is going to be like now that Mugler is with L'Oreal. If you want to be sure about how awesome this stuff is, try to get a vintage bottle that was under the Clarence banner, just because that was like when the golden age of Amen flankers were. So yeah, the more you know. But what about it makes this my favorite Amen flanker and why it's on this list? Well, firstly, it properly retains that Amen dry down DNA. It's definitely going to feel like that below everything that makes this quote unquote Havane. So you have this cherry-ish honey tobacco note here on top of that, and for the most part it's just delicious. Like a pipe tobacco that you want to keep smelling rather than igniting it and just smoking it away. Just because, you know, if you've smelled tobacco before, it actually smells good before it becomes, you know, a part of the aroma and feels like it sticks to everything as far as its smell. Not gonna lie, I like that smell too, but it's just not for everyone. But what I feel like more so is when it is just unlit, and that's what you're getting here for the most part. So it's just perfect for a night out in the cooler weather. You know, you're just chilling with your best buds, you're going to the pub or something like that, or you're with a date. It's not going to feel like you're trying too hard, but feels equally unique at the same time in comparison to what else is out there. So if you like the Amen DNA and you like cigars and or just tobacco smell in general, definitely check out this nighttime favorite for the cooler weather. Again, it's Amen Pure Havane by Mugler. And last but not least, as far as top 10 out of 10 fragrances go, and this is perhaps the perfect flanker. Perfect flanker if you don't already think that the last one already was. Here it is. This is Spicebomb Extreme by Victor and Rolf. Now I jokingly say that I'd rather this be the OG Spicebomb rather than the Spicebomb that we all know and love, mainly because I feel like it actually smells less extreme if anything. You're getting something here that is still equally potent as far as its spices, but it is way more reliant on sweets in the dry down. Now I do know that vanilla is actually a spice technically, but it's one that just comes off as just more enveloping in a sweet way. You're not trying to pierce anyone's noses with it, if that makes any sense. And I feel like smells less like I'm trying to overpower all the other smells out there. It smells more like I'm just trying to smell good. That's what I like about this more vanilla driven dry down here. Also, I do like how it comes off as dry as well, which I'm a fan of drier vanillas just because they don't feel like they're just dripping off my skin when I'm sweating bullets. I think we can all appreciate that. So yeah, if you've yet to appreciate this yourself, definitely check it out if you've yet to. It is Spicebomb Extreme by Victor and Rolf. And there it is. That about does it. That's what rounds off this top 10 out of 10 designer fragrances list. If you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like and subscribe if you've yet to. Therefore, you could be the first ones on future content like this in the near future. And if you really enjoyed the video, also give this video a hit on the notification bell so you'll be the first ones here before anyone else. That being said, I'd also love to know what you guys think. Tell me in the comment section below if there's a 10 out of 10 designer fragrance that you also own and love that I missed. I'd love to know, and I'd also love to know what you think of the ones I've compiled here for you. Again, can't wait to read what you have to say, and thank you so much as always. Take care for now. Peace out. Bye. Where are your fragrances?